Our responsibility as elected officials are to be the checks and balances for our city, and part of that is we have to make sure that we have a balance of services for our community. We have to put, we put the Bentley Center in a needed area. We have the recreation center that's open to all. We get people there. Part of a good city, an all-American city, is to make everyone inclusive. We're all one. We come from diverse backgrounds. We may live in different parts of the city, but we are Statesville. And I think Parks and Recreation, having the Ray Street Park where we can go walk with our families and enjoy that. We can go to a rec center now. All of these things are just like these other projects. We have to be proactive. We have to sell our assets to Statesville. We get what we pay for. If we're going to do something, we have to do it right. We need leadership that can see a vision and has a big vision. If we think big, I think our rewards can be big. We can still maintain a healthy combination of a small town appeal with an economic, proactive approach to growth. Our businesses need it. The Recreation Center has an forethought just like that. I think we have an obligation as elected officials to provide services and amenities to all of our taxpayers. Thank you.
Excuse me. Yes. I was, when I came up, we had a pool down where the tennis courts are now. And I've spent many a day there, and I really enjoyed that. And going by the other day, I've been by there 3 or 4 times, and see looked like 8 or 9 month old babies out there playing in that where the water's going up and down, and the mothers and the teenagers are going around in whatever you call that thing. And I think that's a great idea, and we just we need to have something for everybody here. The quality of life is better now. The next thing we need to do, other than the downtown, is somehow we need to come up with a bigger museum. Now, what we got is maybe sufficient now, but we need to improve on that, and we need to improve on arts. I don't know how many of you went downtown for the art crawl, but the town was full of people. And that shows you that we do have an interest in arts. And that's just, and the walking trails, we're fixing to pave some of those. They use those a lot. And I think it's a grand thing.
The short answer is no. I think, especially if there's other essential needs within the city, and the private sector can do it. There has to be public and private sector ventures and partnerships where both share the risk. And if there's other needs within the city, you have to deal with those essential needs. You have to budget the strategy. You have to have an integrated plan. You have to have a clear vision and strategy that benefits all the people with an economic environment that's going to bring business in so the private sector will do it. So if it's something that the private sector can do, we should have an environment that they can come in and they can recognize how to do it, so that we don't use public money for those ventures. Thank you.
The fitness center, now I almost forgot what the question was. The fitness center is a great asset to the city. And while it does compete somewhat with private enterprise, it doesn't totally compete with private enterprise. You have a fitness center that serves not only the young, but to the old. It has meeting rooms. It has facilities, the water park being one. It's connected to the greenway. It's a whole focal point on one thing, being physically fit. Now, that's financially, but also physically. I mean, young couples, young people are going to want to come to a city. They want to come and have their children grow up here, where there's a soccer field and a soccer complex just on the other side. And when I was campaigning in that neighborhood last night, I asked many of the citizens that I got a chance to speak to, what did they think about living near the soccer complex and now the fitness center being built there? They said it was like a gold mine. I mean, they were so fortunate to be right there, right next to the facility. Though I do think we need sidewalks to get there, to keep the kids out of the street. But, that's going to attract people. While I think it's a lot of money, but I think it's a great investment. It's not one that you're going to see right away, but I think it's one you're going to see with new families and new businesses. Businesses today, if you go to New York City and you go to some big hotshot company, what are they doing? They're roller skating, skateboarding, they got games, they got a boardroom and everything to relieve the pressure of them thinking and working. When you take a small business sometimes, they want to do the same thing. Well, they don't have all the money to do that, but if they move to Statesville, they have it right here. They have the greenways to walk, they can bike, and they can do all that and bring people here, and that will bring jobs. Thank you.
When people come to a city, they look at three things, among other things. They look at the schools, they look at the downtown area, and they look for the recreation for their families, especially those the children in those schools. I think sometimes we lose sight of the fact that it wasn't the people, just the people's money that built that recreation center. Those were taxes coming from Lowe's at the airport, $500,000 a year. Those were taxes that the airport alone could build that recreation center over a period of 4 years. The airport, we got grants of over $12 million that built that airport. The mayor was getting ready to make a huge announcement earlier and was cut off, and I think the Record and Landmark and WSIC should get with him afterwards and find out what he knows, what we learned out about 10 minutes before we came in here. But recreation is very important. We're getting ready to connect it to our greenway with a grant money of $550,000. The people aren't paying for that. That's money coming from the government that we're allowed to take. Who's timing me? I can keep looking at it. But anyway, so those are and we're getting ready to build those sidewalks that'll connect the greenways to the entire city. We will finish 8 miles before snow flies, or that, or December the 1st. How about that? And we have 13 miles to go, but we're taking it slow in that area because we're looking, and there's a lot of grants out there, and that's what we're looking at instead of taking the people's money. So let's not think in terms of the recreation center being a drain on the people. As far as a competition, welcome to competition. Because those fitness centers are here with one exception of those mentioned. They're all chains, and all of those chains are having difficulty, not because of Statesville, but because of the entire country.